Hello everyone, in this video I want to show you how you can import digital elevation model into QGIS and get some results like this. This is very useful when you are doing georeferencing work or simply working with terrain, and you can even render it and get some result like this. I'm going to point out to the resources that are available and show you how to actually download and import stuff. So before we start, there's some website I want to point out. There's something called topographic map. This one allows you to view height in an interactive way, which I find very useful if you are just trying to get an idea of the height of places. So if you navigate around, you can click and it will show you some height information. Although you should be aware, if you zoom in, it actually shows you in more detail. So if you clicked before zooming, you might get an average value. So that is the first thing I want to point out. The other thing I want to point out is there is something called CanElevation series. So if you are in Canada, then you are in luck, because the majority of the Canada is available through this high resolution digital elevation model CanElevation series, and it's actually very handy to use. So you can just Google it and you will find the website to this one. There are quite a few resources, and I want to point out some of the useful links. The first two I want to point out is this DTM derived data and DSM derived data download directory. It will go to those two pages. So DTM is referring to the terrain itself, that is without the surface detail, and DSM is referring to the surface detail. Let me show you the difference here. So this is DSM. If you zoom in, you can see we have all those white dots. Those are the trees and the buildings, and this is TM, the terrain. We can see all those nice. Oh, actually I changed the mapping. Let me just make it back and go back. Oops, let me just do multi-band color, single band color. Okay, good. That's the default look. And here you can see we see those nice terrain geological details, right? So those are the two differences. And if you go to this one, you can click go to source. That will give you to this FTP server, and you can try to find the things you need here. But this has a lot of abbreviations and a lot of encoding, so code names, so it's very hard to find exactly where you want. So you most likely will not directly work with those FTP services. On the other hand, if you are familiar with the U of T libraries, you might have seen this one here, which is actually referring to the same underlying data source, but it's only from 2005. It does provide this very nice interface. You can click and click to download, which will directly give you the zip file containing the result, but you need to log in into U of T library. And even though I graduated from U of T, I can no longer download it. So honestly, you don't need to use this one. That's why I want to point out there is actually a very handy button right here, View on Map. If you click this one, it will bring you to a map view, and as you can see, the green area are the places you have resources available, and you can expand. There's a whole bunch of links right here. So let us take a look at somewhere familiar. Go to this region, and in the example I was using Houghton region. So you can click here, and you can see besides the larger colored chunks, there are smaller rectangular chunks. So here is a 981. If you click here, you will have 980. That's the one I have already downloaded, and you can expand it. You can see there is a lot of information available. Let's just make it full screen. You can see we have the project name, GTA 2023, so very up to date. And then you have the tile name, that's the specific index of things, and a direct download link for DSM and here shade. I'm going to show you what that is, and then DTM and a bunch of other stuff, right? So you can just click on the link, and that's a direct download of the GeoTIFF file. After you download everything, you will have those three GeoTIFF files. Let me show you how you can import them into QGIS. So let's create a new QGIS project. And then the first thing I always do, even though in this case it's not necessary because we are just importing the image, is to set the coordinate reference system. I prefer to use WGS84, and by the way, the difference between these two is this one uses latitude and longitude for coordinates, and this one uses meters for coordinates, right? So I prefer to use this one. Although when you are importing maps, it will give you some pop-ups asking you how do you want to convert between things, but I prefer to store my own data in this. So apply OK, and then go to layer, add a raster layer, and then we can just pick the ones we want. So this, and also this one, right? You can select all of them at the same time. Open, and then add. So as I was saying, because we were using the geographical coordinates, it will ask you how do you want to project, and as you can see, this one is more accurate. You can also preview stuff here. This one is more accurate, so just pick this one. Okay, and then we have the 3 maps. So this is the hillshade map. You can see it's kind of like added shading already, right? I don't know what exactly is the use of this. Typically, I don't find this useful. And then this is a DTM, just the terrain. And then this is a DSM. So a few things you can do here. You can click this button, and you can click anywhere. You can see you can get the height. Click anywhere here, you can get height, right? There are ways you can digitalize things further. I'm not going to show here, but basically there's a raster. You can do analysis, extraction, those kind of useful stuff. The other thing I want to point out is how you can do a little bit styling. So if you go to symbology and actually go to information, you can find the range. Oh, this one is weird. Yeah, this one is a hillshade. Let me just take a look at the DTM one. You can see the range of the entire height, 82 to 300, right? If you go to symbology, you have the option to knip and show only the range you want. So in this case, let's say we don't need all the additional height. We can do stretch and knip, and then say the minimum height I want to see is 100, the maximum I want to see is 200, and then apply and OK, and then you can see it. Now, sometimes you will notice a kind of weird artifact. If that happens, you just need to reset it. So if you messed up the settings, just go to something very different, and then go back. It will give you the defaults. So here, if I try it again, and I think sometimes you just fix it. You see, it shouldn't, show the white area and something like that. So you see the whole thing, right? So that is some of the stuff you can do. Now, to export it to use in other DCCs like Blender or TerraGen, what you can do is right-click, export, save as. And in this case, we are just going to save as a GeoTIFF, and I'm going to say render image. So here, let me just pick a place, desktop, DEM, so my export. And here, the extent, I'm just going to use the current layer extent. And notice here, when you specify the resolution, I don't know what the horizontal or vertical refer to, but the columns is referring to the actual resolution of the picture. So 2048, that's the one we want. And then just click, no need to show on the map, click OK. So that's how we save it. There's one thing I want to point out. I haven't figured out how to use it, but I find it very interesting. Here, if you scroll down, there are a whole bunch of things, and there's a TerraGen Heightfield. This one looks very interesting, but I don't know how exactly this works. I haven't been able to export it successfully. But anyway, now we have the my export. That's the TIFF file, right, with the surface detail. So just to show you quickly how you can use it. So here inside TerraGen, let me just create a blank project. And we will have all the default setup, right? And then we can just delete all the original stuff and go to terrain, from the file, DEM example, select everything and find my export. And that is your terrain. You might want to move your camera a little bit so you can see it, right? That is your terrain right here. Now if I move it to the top of the view, and then right here, right? Top of the view. And then we can set some settings, go to the render settings, do a 9080, right? And for the detail, for the purpose of quick preview, I'm going to disable the details. Make sure you put your camera right here. And if you go to atmosphere, add a global cloud layer, go to water, add a lake layer. Now just do a render. So that's it. That is how you can do. Oh, am I seeing anything at all? Oh, okay, interesting. What happened here? So what is happening with my terrain? Yeah, we should be seeing something. I don't know what was wrong. Let me just run it again. Oh, okay. Probably we want to go to the atmosphere tab. Although it shouldn't matter though. Yeah. Okay. I'm not seeing my water though. But anyway, you get the idea. So that is how you can import digital elevation model into QGIS. Thank you for watching.